What's cracking, guys? Omar Esop here on my preaching platform today, talking to you about my top tips on how to stay lean when you're trying to bulk, when you're in that lean mass phase. And here's what I mean. When you're trying to gain weight, you really want...
How many sets you got? My calves are not going to raise.
Yeah, I got. You're wearing jeans to the gym. That's your first problem. Second thing, I'm doing all the sets. Yeah, I'm doing all of them. Yeah, I have all the sets. So if you don't mind, I'm kind of in the middle of the video. That's a nice stringer, though. I wonder where you got that from. Yeah, thanks. Good seeing you, though. I'll see you around. People of this gym, they're so fucking rude. Like, I'm here on the preaching platform trying to talk about fat loss tips. Okay, building some muscle, and this guy wants to train calves. Apparently, this is a calf raise machine. Are we still rolling?
We're still rolling.
All right. Anyway, so in this video today, talking about my top tips on how to stay lean. The big thing you have to do when you're in a lean mass phase is commit, okay? Because it's going to be long, it's going to be boring. After you're that initial, in that beginner phase when you gain a lot of weight, you're going to look kind of the same for several months. So two things can potentially occur, right? You don't think you're gaining enough muscle. Remember, you can only synthesize so much muscle. Refer to my previous video to find out how much, approximately in a year. But you can only synthesize so much. And as a result of that, you're going to be looking the same for several months, and your weight's not really going to fluctuate too much. You might go up a couple pounds every single month. So you might think to yourself, shit man, I'm kind of looking the same, my strength is kind of going up, maybe I should increase my calories. And that's where a lot of us, myself included, I've done this several times, right? We're impatient because we all want these results yesterday. We increase our calories too much, and that's going to do nobody no good, right? What is gaining additional fat going to do if we're not synthesizing more muscle? So the first mistake is eating too much in the expectation that we're going to build more muscle. Remember, you can only, big word today, big buzzword, synthesize so much muscle in a period of time. So the rest of what you're gaining is fat. Makes no sense. So the first thing is you gotta control, and you gotta realize you're in it for the long haul. The second big thing is to understand that mistakes happen, right? When you're cutting, you're probably more strict, you're careful about your social activities, how much you drink. When you're in a lean mass phase, you're a little bit more liberal. As such, there are sometimes you at a bros party, who knows, you see a cute little girl, and you eat a few too many calories, right? You drink a few too many brews, and now you're over your calories. What the fuck are you supposed to do? Oh my God, are you supposed to start cutting immediately? Nah, man. That's what we have control days for. I want you to start thinking about weekly calories instead of daily calories, because we all fuck up. I've done it before, I'll do it again. Okay, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But what happens when you go over your calories, you gotta think of your weekly calories. So if you overshoot by let's say 1,500 calories for one day, so you normally eat 3,000 calories and then you eat 4,500 calories, what you're going to do over that week is just reduce your calories in such a way that you make up that deficit. So you have 1,500, you overshot, and then you reduce it by 1,500 over a period, let's say of 5 days. So you're eating 300 less calories every single day for 5 days. It will pretty much negate what you did by over-consuming on that one day. So start thinking more long-term weekly calories instead of one, daily calorie or your daily calories. One fuck up is not going to mess you up when it comes to lean mass phase. It's spiraling out of control, right? And then doing it into a weekend, turning it into a week, into several weeks. That's what's going to turn it into a bulk, that dreamer bulk, that forever bulk that never ever ends. The next big tip I want to talk about, and many people seem to ignore this for some reason, is doing cardiovascular work when you're in a lean mass phase. You want to stay lean, right? So why not do cardiovascular work? What are the benefits? Well, one, besides making sure you don't run out of breath, maybe increasing your anaerobic and anaerobic capacity, and anaerobic, doing things like the prowler. The other big thing is that it eats up extra calories. So let's say once again, you're in a surplus and you like to eat a lot of food. Who doesn't like to eat a lot of food? But what ends up happening, we sometimes overshoot a little bit. Doing cardiovascular work will allow us to eat a little bit more calories, and you find that point of where you're comfortable with. Let's say your caloric surplus before doing cardio is like 3,000 calories, right? Okay, cool. But let's say you're not satisfied with 3,000, you want 3,300 calories. Well, doing a couple times a week a little bit of cardiovascular work like the prowler, sprinting up hills, that's going to be very beneficial to you. You're going to burn more calories, but your hunger on the same level is not going to go up. So the more cardiovascular work you do, your hunger doesn't go up proportionally, which means that the more work you do, you'll still eat around the same amount, you'll still feel like you want to eat the same amount of calories. So cardiovascular work, very important when you're in a lean mass phase. And then, you know, if in the eventuality that none of this worked, this lean mass phase, this top tips of, you know, staying lean, it didn't work, it happens to all of us, what you need to do then is perhaps implement a mini cut, where if you've gone overboard, right, you didn't do, you know, one day you did, not even a couple days, you did a couple weeks of overeating, and now you're, you know, let's face it, you're getting a little bit of a gut, okay, you got a little bit of pooch right there. What you're gonna wanna do is that mini cut. So where you reduce your calories for a period of several weeks, lose the couple pounds of fat that you accumulated recently, and then go back to your lean mass phase. There are several tips here at our disposal. We can do the mini cut, we can do the control days. We gotta keep in mind that we're in it for the long haul. We also gotta take a look at making specific goals of what we wanna try and achieve, so we know what we're aiming towards rather than just keeping eating, you know, more and more food. Obviously tracking our calories, that goes without saying. And then lastly, you gotta remember that for everyone, I do recommend cardiovascular work. That's it, guys. That's the video. It really is simple when it comes down to trying to gain weight, right? Trying to be in a lean mass phase. You just gotta do it, you gotta be smart about it, and you have to think about this over the long haul. Rome wasn't built in a day, a jacked and tan body wasn't built in 1 year, 1 month. You know, it takes several years. So be smart, be focused. Post in the comment section below your top tips for everyone else reading this, watching this video out there. Thank you so much for watching. Like the damn video. Make sure I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Okay, Stu Magoo. To like this video and be seeing all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace.